call this meeting of the Santa Fe Independent School District order. Let the record show a quorum of board members present. The meeting's been duly called. Its notice has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Board members will now adjourn to executive sessions authorized by the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Section 551.001, concerning any and all purposes permitted by the Act. Should any final action, final decision, or final vote be required, that final action, final decision, and final vote shall take place in open session, and we are in executive session at 5:01 p.m.
Hey, Dr. Bott.
Enough to get started while they're coming back from. Okay, good evening. Welcome to the meeting of Santa Fe ISD Board of Trustees. It's important that this meeting be conducted in an organized and efficient manner. To that end, I'd like to outline some ground rules for all of us to follow. First and foremost, recognize this is a board meeting, and by law, most of the discussion and all of the voting must be done in open session. And public participation, by necessity, must be limited to that part of the agenda that's reserved for public input. Occasionally, the board may seek comment or clarification from an administrator in attendance or even from someone in the audience. It's the board's prerogative to seek that information as it chooses, and unsolicited participation from the audience is inappropriate. Second, just know at times it appears that we're voting on issues of importance with little or even no discussion. Be advised that all board members get a packet of background information about the various subjects on tonight's agenda several days in advance of actually coming here to the meeting. After receiving the packets, all board members have and often exercise the opportunity to contact various school administrators to ask specific questions in an effort to better understand the issues that we're expected to vote on. Thank you for being interested in the school district. Encourage your active participation in the educational process of your children, and appreciate your cooperation in helping us conduct the business of the Santa Fe ISD in an organized and civilized manner. Okay. Mr. Tim, would you like to lead us in our invocation? And Mr. Davenport, will you do our pledges, please? Since I don't see a little one in here.
We ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you'll bow your heads with me, please. Father, I want to start off by just thanking you for the mercy and the goodness that you show us, that you've shown to this school district and this community, Father. Father, I thank you for these men and women, Father, who are serving on this school board, Lord. And Lord, I ask that you would give them wisdom, that you would guide them in the decisions they make, Father, here this very day, Father, and throughout the course of time, Father, as they continue to lead this district, Father. Father, bless them, Father. Make them prosperous in what they do. Father, I thank you for your blessing upon this school district, Father. I ask you continue to bless it, protect it, and keep it. Father, I ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right. Let's see, do we have any action from our closed session?
No, sir, Mr. President, we do not.
All right. Jenny, do you have any recognitions for tonight, Ms. Davenport? All right. We will now move into our public comment. The Board of Trustees will hear public comment on agenda items at all open meetings in accordance with Texas Government Code Section 551.007. Public comment on non-agenda items will be heard at the regularly scheduled board meetings in April, August, and December per our policy. And we have no one signed up tonight for public comment, so I will pass that on to Ms. Pittman. All right, Dr. Bott, we have a couple of information items.
Yes, sir. Just a handful of presentations this month, and we're going to begin with nutrition. So I'm going to ask Ms. Sheree Bowers
to do what she likes to do best.
I'm excited that the room is packed. I only have about 45 minutes worth of information to give you. I'm going to do it in 2 minutes.
Corey said there's like 400 viewers on Facebook right now.
Okay. Hi, good evening.
You're
I'm
fine,
Cherie
Cherie.
Bowers. I'm Director of Young Nutrition Services. I'm happy to have this opportunity tonight to give you a year-end update. Our participation this year held steady at 25% at breakfast and 56% at lunch. And if you remember, we had an increase just right after COVID when all meals were free. We had an increase in participation. And even though meals have gone back to free, reduced, and paid eligibility, our participation is holding steady. So we're happy to report that information to you. We served 622,000 meals last year. That's 16,000 meals per person for the year, or 90 meals per person per day. So when they say they're tired, they're not kidding. We had 2,218 students qualify for free and reduced meals last year, which is the 51%. The majority of those qualify on our directly certified list. It's a list we receive from the state on the 5th of every month, and those households are identified as already receiving some type of benefit from the state, so they notify us that these households are eligible. So our online apps and our paper applications are a small piece of the total puzzle. Because we were 50% free and reduced, we were required to operate a summer feeding program. This was our first summer that we were required to operate a summer feeding program, and we did that in the month of June.
And how is that budgeted?
It's a separate program.
Is that coming out of your food nutrition though, or is that something that the government is subsidizing?
They do give you reimbursement, but it's a very small amount, and we have not closed out all of those expenses yet, so I'll have to submit a report to TDA, and then next year, there's a possibility of applying for a waiver to not operate summer feeding if we didn't break even on this year's program. Our participation was very small, unfortunately. I should have led with that. Our participation this summer was very low, and I felt like we did a lot to advertise it, so we're going to have to dig into that a little bit more. USDA released their meal pattern guidelines finally. Remember, there was chocolate milk going away, was on the table. We're keeping chocolate milk for 2 more years. We'll see what happens after that. But for now, we keep chocolate milk. There's going to be new restrictions on sugar, but there's no limit on artificial sweeteners. So I'm not sure how that's a positive spin, but that's the direction we're headed. And there's also increased restrictions on sodium that are coming in July of 27. A meal has to be 935 milligrams of sodium or less, and a cup of milk is still a required component, which is already 130 milligrams of naturally occurring sodium. So it's a very low sodium target that we are facing in our future meals, and that makes it difficult to compete when kids are eating at McDonald's or Jack in the Box or Chick-fil-A, which is a lot of people's favorite, and the sodium is much higher. The meals are not going to be as appealing. We received an award this year from the Texas Department of Agriculture. I received it from Sid Miller himself for sourcing Texas-grown products and also for using 95% of our plan commodity assistance money. I'm pretty proud of that. So, there you go. Our challenges continue to be staffing. We really struggled this last year. On any given day, we were at least 8 people short. We are hoping that this year is going to be a lot different. The proposed regulations that I talked about with the reductions in sodium, those are going to be difficult to navigate. We are scheduled this year for an administrative review from TDA. It's a once every 5-year review where they dig into our operations, and then they'll do an on-site on one day at the site they select. I don't have any dates on it yet, so I'm still waiting on those. And then the increasing complexity of each program. You would think that it's all one program, but it's not. The school breakfast program has different rules and regulations than lunch, and after-school snacks are different from those from the other 2. And then summer feeding is a totally different program operated by CACFP. So it gets a little it's just very cumbersome. And we keep asking for USDA to streamline these programs so that they're just less paperwork, easier to operate, and it's falling on deaf ears so far. Our goal always is to serve the most nutritious and tasty meals possible so students are ready to learn when they enter the classroom. Any questions?
You monitor the sodium. You gotta come in and sample each meal.
I'm sorry?
On the sodium, how do y'all monitor that?
I do a nutritional analysis every year on everything we serve. So the sodium is one piece of that.
I'll volunteer to taste
You
test
sample
or
the milk.
sample.
You want to do some? Okay, I would love to have you come do some of our samplings. The kids would love to have you there.
Don't tell him that.
I don't know how you navigate all of this, but I just want to say you do an excellent job.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Any other questions for Ms. Bowers? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Big thanks to Cherie and her team, always trying to navigate things with a positive attitude. Appreciate you so much. Next is our Transportation Department annual update, and our new Transportation Director, Luis, is going to come up here and give us a brief update. So he is just as eager to get up and speak in front of everybody as Cherie is, if not more.
Probably less. Good evening, Board, Dr. Bott, Central Administration. Of course, Mr. McKinney was supposed to have presented this in March or sometime in the spring, so I'll kind of piggyback off of some of that info. Not a lot changed from 22-23 to 23-24, but we open any questions that may come about. So our department consists of about 60 staff members, not a lot of growth within the department. That's office staff, shop, bus drivers, monitors. Have 3,200 registered bus riders, transport in and around 2 as far as that. And about 90% of our students will ride a bus in some shape or form, whether it be to an event, after-school tutorial, something like that. As a department, we always strive for safety, organizational excellence. Customer services, I know Mr. McKinney hit on customer service, and we want to continue to do that, so just added a couple of things. Integrity, we'll always try to do what's right the first time, and then have respect, for all involved, students, public, stakeholders. With safety and student management, of course, when we do interviews, we tell folks, we can train you how to drive a bus. Tough part is learning what works best for your student management techniques and what you apply. But student management is always important. Technologies on the buses allow us to continue to do things safely. Of course, accident-free, incident-free if we can get there. And then any safety upgrades that we can purchase. No new buses recently, but a lot of the new buses that we purchased had the accident mitigation cameras, 360 surround view. So we still have those things in place. Samsara is a new product that will allow us to get some more of the telematics as to what the buses are doing when they pick up students. But again, technology is always helpful. Student management, we always, try to engage the driver. I let the drivers know, we're here as management to support what I like to call an understanding approach or a very thorough approach, if I may. Try to do bus suspensions. That does happen. During springtime is when they kind of are out of opportunities and we have to move forward with suspensions, but we do try to have progressive discipline for that. Still competitive in pay. Not too many new hires joined this hiring season, if you will, but we're still 1 for 1 minus the creation of a new route that'll run into the Houston area, the west side of Houston. So I won't know till next Monday the 5th when employees may not return. We ask that they let us know as soon as they know, but you may come back from a weekend and find out that you lost a driver. So, but I do think we do offer a lot of support to the drivers. I think this is a good spot to be as far as student management. Our student group, our parent support is always there to help us manage. And then, of course, we do the monthly safety meetings to go over principles of student management. And again, each style differs. Again, with no purchases of new buses, we still about 60% of our buses have seat belts, and about 83% of those buses are assigned to bus routes. We still have some buses that don't have 3-point seat belts, but we'll try to get there. Fire suppressions, we actually are due. We've had those now on our buses for 5 years, so we're actually going to do a recertification of those. We don't have them on all buses, but the ones that we do have, they are due for a 5-year recertification. Again, we're in the process of doing those. Stop arm program still up and running. So it's been up and running since October of 2019. So we'll still continue to have that program in place.
I know you don't have data, but we are still seeing declines in the number of citations?
It looks to be about the same. I kind of was trying to figure out those numbers. I think the last board report.
Same as last year or when we first started? Because I feel like when we first started, it's down.
Well, yeah, when we first started, yes, there's been a decline. I don't remember those numbers in front of me, nor did I write them down. I was trying to figure out
I was just curious.
this number, but we still, if I had to guess, it's probably holding steady. But nonetheless, there has been a decline from when we started in October of 2019. But again, we were trying to figure out those numbers. We kind of took over that program. I have a person was looking at the data and couldn't figure out the number per bus that I know that previously was shared.
There was an article that I read the other day. 24, I believe it is, of the states in the United States now have stop arm bus type programs and regulations and laws on the books. They gave some statistics that are staggering.
Oh, definitely.
Of the number of violations, but the number of accidents where kids are hit on buses.
Right.
It blew my mind when I read it. I thought, that's
Right. That still continues to be the most unsafe part of
by a car
the bus
that
route.
runs past and hits them coming off the bus.
Yeah, and you'll get folks they'll come on that shoulder. That's the scariest because that's where the door exits. But yeah, that's the most unsafest part.
Sorry to interrupt. We're just curious. Keep going. You're good.
Real quick, how do y'all monitor kids wearing seatbelts?
Again, with some thorough drivers, we tell the students put your seatbelts on. Some drivers are very thorough about it, stickers, if you will. They'll do a spot check. Some opportunities to view video, and it just depends on how you approach it. But that's the other question. I'm part of a chat group or a public forum group, and they'll ask, how do you enforce it, especially when they're new to it. It's tough.
Yeah.
I'll tell parents, I'd be lying to you if I told you the driver saw everything that's happening behind them. So we try to get there. Again, there's some drivers that are sticklers about it. As a disclaimer, we just pretty much tell all the students, put your seatbelt on. If we notice you without it, then you can get a bus referral. So, but it is a challenge.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Successes, we still are able to do, work orders in a timely manner, even though the price of parts has gone up, but we're still able to, get buses out, keep them on the road, still have the capabilities to support tutorials or to support, some requests that does get us a little bit thin. And then the same with parents, we're understanding and whatever hardship that might be going there, that we can still, be able to offer some type of support to get kids to and from. Whether it be, a parent may say, hey, I can't get my kid picked up. I know he was acting up or she was acting up. We may, instead of suspending for 3 full days, we may do 6 mornings of suspension because they can do the morning, but then the afternoon. So we just kind of double what would be PM or AM. And then we continue to try to work with the campuses and as a team just to get it done. At the end of the day, we all work for Santa Fe ISD, so we try to support all that. Accident-free, of course, is always our goal. We have had some incidents, but we still are 5+ years without any claim to the insurance, keeping in mind that the insurance is, they have the premiums and all that good stuff, but we were able to fix some things either with our shop or other means of not going through the insurance. And that's all I have.
Any other questions for transportation report? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I like to say no news is good news. So, thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Appreciate it. Okay. Our last information item is going to be our quarterly investment report. Alejandro Sanchez is going to present that.
I want you to make this as as enjoyable as the first two were.
You know, this stuff is riveting. I know that you guys really enjoy me just boring you to death with the details. But I didn't even prepare a presentation because I really just want to kind of go over it real quickly with you guys. We are presenting the fourth quarter. That's for the year ending in June 30th. For those 3 months, basically our assets were held in interest-bearing accounts the majority of the time, which brought us roughly about $250,000 in interest. As you know, our markets right now are seeing just a steady interest rate, and our assets are going to start declining here shortly just because of the cash flow issues that happen during this time of the year. As you know, there are cash flow cycles. Normally, the summer and beginning of the school year are low because of how the financial systems of the state work and any tax collections. We will see those coffers increase again back in November and December and January when we have our tax collections and the state payments. And by then, we should be able to, again, finance and increase our holdings at that point. We have roughly about a 40% of our assets located in our cash depository accounts for everyday operations, and about 60% of that in cash pool accounts. So we have a total of about 7 different accounts where we basically spread out all our assets to generate and maximize our revenue. So does anybody have any questions on that?
No, sir.
See?
Thank you very much.
Exciting stuff.
You don't even have chocolate milk, man.
Yeah, yeah. Cherie lost James when she got on chocolate milk. So.
Sheree's got chocolate milk. You have nothing.
Yeah.
That's all we have for information.
All right, next we will move into our consent agenda.
Yes, sir. We have minutes and accounts payable, our list of teacher appraisal system appraisers, and a handful of MOUs and local agreements.
Mr. President, I move that we approve all consent agenda items 10.02 through 10.10.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda that was presented. Any other questions or discussion? If not, would you cast your votes, please? And it has passed unanimously. All right, we will move into our regular agenda, and the very first thing we need to do is order an election.
Yes, sir. In accordance with policy, Board Policy BB, legal and local, the board shall order an election on even-numbered years to elect trustees for the office of those members whose term expire. The terms of office for positions 1, 2, 3, and 7 expire this year, and election must be held to fill those positions. I'm recommending that the board, in accordance with our policy, order a general election to elect trustees for positions 1, 2, 3, and 7 to be held November 5th, 2024. Board members also need to set a date to canvass the votes and declare the results of the election. The board shall defer the appointment of a presiding election judge, alternate election judge, and election workers to the Galveston County Elections Division.
Anybody want to get elected?
President, I move that we call for the general election to be held on November 5th, 2024, to elect trustees for positions 1, 2, 3, and 7, and set Monday, November 18, 2024, just prior to regular board meeting to canvass the votes and declare the election results, and defer the appointing of the judges and workers of the election of the Galveston County Election Division.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we call for the election on November the 5th. Any other questions or comments? Not cast your votes, please. This is passed unanimously. All right. We have the TASB Board of Director endorsement for Region 4. Dr. Bott, you want to present that?
Yes, sir. It's kind of that time of the year where we're looking to consider and approve a TASB Board of Director endorsement. We usually have some folks reach out to us, and Tony Hopkins from Friendswood ISD and from Position C is seeking the board's endorsement for his election to the TASB Board of Directors. He's always done a great job representing Region 4 and Galveston County, and so we are recommending that we endorse him at this time.
Yeah, this is a re-election for Tony. He's in the position now. So.
Mr. President, I move that we endorse Mr. Tony Hopkins from Friendswood ISD for Region 4.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the endorsement of Tony Hopkins. Any other questions? If not, cast your votes, please. And it is passed unanimously. All righty. Ms. Harris, you have some policy revisions for us?
All right, so a little background is the C&I department did work with principals to look at sections E and F that then also have coordinating policies. So I'm going to try to go through this as quickly and easily as possible because a lot of these are just revisions to catch up with our District of Innovation plan, and so they were in conflict with that District of Innovation plan. And then a lot of the other ones were just updates in procedures, but it was in our local policy, so it actually has to go in front of you for that revision. So first we have DBA, and this is one of those policy revisions, based on District of Innovation. I guess, should I ask any questions on it or just keep going? Okay, keep going. All right. DEAA, again, is striking the mentor teacher section for the District of Innovation policy part of that. DL is a deletion of the policy based on District of Innovation. DK is also based on some District of Innovation wording. EB is also District of Innovation update. Now, EIC local, and I'm trying to go in the order that they were in your policy, but EIC local is a little different. That one was a committee that was called the Policy Committee was convened to look at the honor grad and valedictorian section. It was proposed that the two endorsements and the foundation plan come out, and the earned weight of a GPA of 3.7 be changed to what is number one now, is earned a class ranking of the top 15% for honor grad. Do we have any questions about that?
That would be beginning with the class of,
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. I did forget to preface that. Any changes on our local grading policies have to go through, so it would be, this would start with our freshmen as they move in this next year.
That's 28.
class of 28.
Any other questions? Okay. EEB local is also a deleted policy because of our District of Innovation. EIE local, we found that in grades 6 through 8, the policy said that you had to pass English, language arts, math, and either science or social studies. This is due to a long time ago. You had your SSI requirements, and so I think the policy was updated back then. That's not relevant anymore, and so kids need to pass all of them. So we wanted to propose to pass all 4 core classes before moving to the next grade. FNF is really just a wording change on the general searches. Students, can be searched for their personal belongings. That was sometimes confusing for people because a personal belonging is a cell phone. So we felt like it was necessary to put including personal electronic devices. So that's very clear for parents. FNA had to do with eligibility to speak in front of the student body. At the high school, it was said that you had to be in the highest 2 grade levels, and our high school didn't feel like we should limit it to an age. So they wanted to open it up to freshmen and sophomores as well, but they did put a more specific wording in there about if they've been in Coastal Alternative Program, DAP, and JJ, they would not be allowed to speak in front of the student body. Also in FNA local, we updated the graduation ceremonies. We don't do opening and closing remarks from students, so we took that out. FO local was a District of Innovation. And then GKBA is just a wording on, we don't have the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources and Public Relations. It is in communications. So, with that said, let's see how the wording was. I ask that the board approve the local policy revisions as presented.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve local policy revisions as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve these policy revisions. Any other questions or comments? Would you cast your votes, please? And it is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, you have the Collegiate High School Partnership Agreement.
Yes, this is our typical partnership agreement with the College of Mainland for Collegiate High School. So I'm asking that you consider and approve it for it not to exceed $164,700. And that's our part that we pay for our students. And this would be for the 24 through 2026 school year, so it is a 2-year agreement.
What, this is normally a 1-year thing, right?
Actually, I was told it was always 2 years, and so,
I don't think so,
unless they had some kind of update, maybe.
because the other amount we used to pay was about half of that, so. And the other ones were only 1 year. So I don't know when we changed it, but we changed it somewhere.
Yeah.
How is that money actually applied? I mean, what was it for? Educate me a little bit.
So what we pay for is the students, they have high school courses, they're not dual credit. The students pay the dual credit side of it, but if there is not a dual credit equivalent, we pay College of the Mainland to educate him in the, for like the regular high school credit classes that they don't have dual credit in.
This basically covers the, because we don't have a teaching staff here to teach all that courses.
Yes, it's supposed to offset a teaching staff member, but that doesn't always happen. It depends on how many attend. That's their idea, is that it would offset the cost. But that is why we put criteria in there. And in fact, this last year we did, as students were enrolling for CHS, we did increase the requirements. For example, we require that the students pass the TSI math and reading portions for us to pay for the high school courses. If they don't pass it and still want to attend, we do allow a parent pay, but if you want us to pay, you have to meet the higher requirements.
Gotcha.
And if I may piggyback on that, part of the reason for that is that we want there to be accountability with students, but also we as a school district would not be eligible for the outcomes bonus.
Yes.
If we're not implementing that criteria.
Yes. We could pay all this money and then not receive any kind of reimbursement for the outcome bonus if they do not pass the TSI, both portions of that, and enter college. It has to be both. No exemptions work. So like, for instance, the college bridge that we use for some of our students, it does not help us obtain any of the outcome bonus on that. So that's another reason we upped it.
Thank you.
No problem.
Is this the same agreement where we had an issue last year? Is there anything thrown in there that can?
That'll be on the dual
that's
credit one.
That's coming up.
Okay.
Left that one for last.
But isn't the dual credit money also associated with this money?
No, this one is just for the high school classes.
Digit only?
So it's just for the high school classes, for them to attend their high school classes there.
Is the wording that's on this agreement the exact wording that's provided to students and their families?
In which section? It most likely, yes. But this would be more about our partnerships together, and is probably not some of it's not in their application, more than likely.
Yeah, particularly on the funding piece, because I know one thing a lot of families are surprised by whenever they enter into collegiate high school is that there's additional fees that they're each responsible for events.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we could probably clean that up on our application process part. I'll write that down.
And it's not an optional fee, so that's why I thought I'd bring that up.
That, and you're right, that should be on their application. If it's a fee for them, it's really kind of on there, but I will pass along that they should probably clean that up on their
Completely
application.
agree.
Also, on the application, I know there was confusion over the last few years because College of the Mainland puts out an application, but yet our requirements might have additional requirements. We actually took their application this year, imposed our own requirements on it, and it was stated that this was the Santa Fe High School. So I think we did a little better with that, but yes, they have their own, they work as their own entity at times.
They do work as their own entity, and we are paying the bill. I wish this was a one-year contract instead of two, because in my mind, they're on notice with me anyway. I'll just be honest. I'm not pleased with a lot of things that have happened in the past. Hopefully those will be cleaned up. I expect them to be cleaned up on College of the Mainland side. We'll see what happens.
I'll say too, on the student eligibility section of the document, I don't see where it says anything about the interview that they also have to go through. So if there's anywhere to include that, that might be a good idea.
Okay.
That's all I got, so.
Okay. Well, at this time, I am going to ask that you approve the Collegiate High School Partnership Agreement with College of the Mainland for the 24-26 school year, not to exceed $164,700.
President, I move that we approve the Collegiate High School Partnership Agreements with College of Mainland for 2024 through 26 school years. Not to exceed $164,700.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve the Collegiate High School Partnership Agreement with COM. Any other questions or comments? If not, would you cast your votes, please? And it is passed unanimously. All right, you have now the dual partnership agreement with College of the Mainland.
Yes, and I know we kind of alluded to it during the Collegiate High School approval process, but we have worked a considerable amount with College of the Mainland due to some things that have happened over the last year that many of us probably remember and we're not approving of. This is we would like for you to consider and approve the dual credit partnership agreement with College of the Mainland. It is also another 2-year agreement for the 24-25 and the 25-26 school year. What we were able to work with them on is page 4. During their professional development, they are to be trained specifically in the development and the growing issues of our students, and so that it's tailored their education and the way that their pedagogy for teaching our students is age appropriate. So if you look at B, that's the wording in which they agreed to.
For those watching online, we worked closely with the college to try to make sure that this was language that we felt like was going to make sure that our students here in Santa Fe ISD were protected, and we felt like it was developmentally appropriate. And so we were very clear that those workshop topics would include developmental or age-appropriate pedagogy when we're talking about professional development to assist with their growing teaching practice. And so that's the language we have in here in professional development. We feel like that does not only provide training for those staff, but also there's a supervision component that allows for that oversight for our dual credit instructors. And so I wanted to make sure we're reaffirming that that's something we worked very closely with the college to have that accountability for our students, because yes, they are collegiate high school classes, but they are taught in our buildings. And we wanted to make sure that there was an appropriate balance there so that we don't have things like that happen again in the future.
Well, just short of reading all this right now, what's set in place for us as our course of action if there is things that continue happening?
So if we have any reports of anything, first off, we've made sure that they are putting on their syllabus everything that is being taught. As far as the high school and our duty, we will remind our parents that they need to check the syllabus, because in this contract, it does state that it will be listed in the syllabus. And then secondly, we have that professional development that's required. They've agreed to share it with us so we can see what's being taught. And then the III under supervision is that if we have any issues or concerns regarding the conduct of a dual credit instructor, we will be able to contact their appropriate staffing because they are not an employee of our district. So,
And if I may say more specifically, we'd be under no obligation to continue that particular course.
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
When there are questions in the program, who ultimately kind of oversees that? Is it the high school counselors or is it the comm counselors?
It should work as a partnership. I mean, we cannot tell comm what courses they're going to offer. And so we try to work with them. So there are certain things that are ultimately their decision, but then there's parts that are ours. And so, for instance, and that's why it is very difficult for parents. I'll give an example. If they want to take an outside class, outside of, like for instance, a regular dual credit class, they can sign up for anything, any dual credit class, but they'll need to work with their counselor to make sure it works with their transcripts and their grading plan. The other thing, like for instance, whether they're allowed in, that's on the college. The fees are on the college. All of those types of things are on the college totally.
How many students are usually active in this dual credit? Last year, how many were active in it?
It's in the 60s each semester.
60s?
60s. Mm-hmm. It may be more, but I know it's about about the 60s, between 60s and 70s.
Is participation maintaining, or is it trending up or down?
It would be trending up. When we added recently, well, a couple years ago, we added teachers within our own faculty that could support some of the college classes. It went up because we were able to offer more. So I think if we were able to find more teachers, and I honestly feel like that's the best way, so I'm always looking for it. If we can offer a teacher who is a high school teacher plus a college teacher, they already understand this age-appropriate pedagogy. It's innately, it's already trained from Santa Fe. So while they might still be requiring the college coursework and topics, the way it's presented would be age-appropriate. And so we'll always be looking for those teachers. Like right now, we have Miss Cunningham and Mr. Kinzer. So we'll continue to look for those.
So in addition to the coursework and the topics that are covered in the class, do they also alter the structure of the class so that it's more like a college class instead of high school when you have a high school teacher that's teaching it?
Yes, they're supposed to, and they actually attend some of the training at College of the Mainland, and they report to College of the Mainland for those grades. So I just think that it mirrors more easily because they understand the students they're working with. They haven't been hanging around just college kids that could range from any age level. They've been working with juniors and seniors most of their time. So they tend to understand the kids better. But they follow the same protocols, like for instance, parents aren't allowed to, talk to the teacher or the professor, the student has to because of, they follow those same protocols.
And
for those classes
That's
only.
more so to Mr. Crable's point. I think because we have kids in dual credit, it's tricky and I have a kid going to college. I actually can't talk to
Right.
legitimately any of those instructors without his permission. I have to sign. He has to sign a thing saying I can sign it. But it's similar to dual credit. Excuse me. Only they're enrolled in Santa Fe High School, and at the college, so it gets a little tricky as a parent.
Does.
So we have the liaison that position we were trying to fill and allow more opportunities for parents to reach out and work with the counselor. And so that's still ongoing, that communication process. We are working through that. It's not always simple,
Yeah.
but we have told the college we'd like to have some clear avenues for students and parents.
Yes, and the best way to talk, like, you're right, you're not allowed to, get grades and things like that, but the College of the Mainland does work with our counselors, and so they let us know if there's a kid that's not doing so well, and then the counselor can reach out to the parents. So as long as the professor's telling our counselors, then that's where we can help. I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question, Mr. Crable.
It's fine.
I wasn't trying to send a wrong message about questioning. I think it's a great program. I really do, and I want to continue it. I just, how it is in today's society, if they take, and then if you let them take, they take more. So there's got to be a point somewhere where we're just not willing to go. So,
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I make a motion, we approve the dual credit partnership agreement with College of the Mainland for the 24 through 26 school years.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the dual credit partnership agreement with COM. Any other questions or comments? I cast your votes, please. And it is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
All right. So we have a policy manual update, Ms. Davenport.
I'm doing the update 123 from the 88th Texas legislative session. So that's the local policy update that we have today. It goes into effect immediately. Recommended changes to local policies are detailed. You've got the explanatory notes and the all of those attachments in there that kind of go over what those changes are, but I can go through some of them real quickly. They talk about board member training and orientation, conflict of interest disclosure, safety emergency plans, security personnel, technology resources, employment contracts, employee complaints, instructional arrangements, instructional resources, student and parent complaints, and public complaints. Additional recommended and district requested local changes address employee, student, and parent, and public complaint filing provisions, and appropriate administrator or designated representative, getting it to the correct person in that timeliness, in that 3-day time frame. We kind of altered that a little bit so that basically, as long as people have it to us in that correct amount of time, then we can get it to the right person, as long as it's here in district. So that was the other change. So that's just the local policy update that came out of the 88th Texas legislative session. So just ask that you guys approve that.
Mr. President, I move that the board add, revise, or delete local policies as recommended by TASB Policy Service and according to the instructional sheet for TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 123 with additional changes to policies GF Local, FNG Local, and DGBA Local as presented.
Second.
Okay, so moved and seconded that we, these policy 1, 2, 3. Any other questions or comments?
No, sir.
Would you cast your votes, please? It is passed unanimously. Okay, you have one more item.
Yes, sir. I have a resolution to compensate our employees for the emergency closures that we've already had to do this summer due to weather. We had one in June 19th, I believe, and then we had the week in July from Hurricane Beryl. So just would like to be able to pay our employees for those days that we had to close due to the weather. So if you guys would approve that resolution to compensate our employees, I would appreciate it.
Mr. President, I move that the board approve the resolution for compensation of employees for the June and July 2024 emergency closure for weather which serves as a public purpose and the continued retention and morale for such employees and in ensuring efficient and expeditious opening of schools.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution for compensation. Any other questions or comments? Would you cast your votes, please? And it is passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Sanchez, you have a memorandum for the CAP program.
As you all are aware, we host the Coastal Alternative Program here within our district, and we do have a memorandum of understanding that we bring to the board every year so that we can get it signed and passed on to other superintendents and other boards throughout throughout the area that participate in this program. This particular memorandum of understanding is the same as every other year, with the exception that we have increased the pricing per square footage of the area that we are allocating to the Coastal Alternative Program. We have increased it from 50 cents to $1. This will increase the amount of money that is charged to the program, or Dickinson at this point, who manages the program, and they will send those funds to us in a semester basis. So we would like for the board to consider and approve the memorandum of understanding with the CAP alternative, or the Coastal Alternative Program, for 24-25 school year. Are there any questions on that?
Mr. President, I move that we approve the 2024-25 Coastal Alternative Program Memorandum of Understanding.
Second.
Then moved and second that we approve the MOU for the Coastal Alternative Program. Any other questions? Cast your votes, please. And it is passed unanimously. All right, you got some donations for us?
Yes, sir. These donations are actually for the year ending June 30th, 2024. This is for the previous school year. We have received donations in excess of $5,000, which needs board approval. We have received roughly amount of $200,000. We would like for the board to accept those donations from our public in the tune of $200,506.62.
Alex, you said it verbally, but I feel this report in the future, we should have that time frame on the actual report.
Yes, sir. I will change that.
Does that mean now you want to approve it?
Yes. I approve the acceptance of the donations that is greater than 5,000 received. The total donation is $200,506.62.
Second.
Okay, so moved and second that we approve the donations. Any other questions or comments? Cast your votes, please. It's passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that is all of our regular agenda items. So we will move into any other communication that any of the board members may have real quick. Ms. Lambert, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I hope everybody's having a good, quiet, restful summer, as quiet and restful as it can be. We appreciate you guys coming here tonight.
Mr. Grassmuck.
Thanks for making us get all dressed up nice in the summer, Dr. Bott. I appreciate it. I love getting dressed. I love getting dressed up. I love getting dressed up nice and looking pretty. Hope everybody's enjoying their summer. There's some stuff going on with some trials right now, and just we're thinking about y'all, so just want you to know that. And hope everybody continues to have a good summer and get ready to get back to work.
Mr. Hertenberger.
No, not really. Thank y'all for everything. Ready for the school year.
Mr. Davenport.
I'll just echo what Mr. Grassmunk says. Obviously, we have some emotional times in front of us, but hearts, prayers, everything goes out to those affected right now. And look forward to getting off to a good school year.
Mr. Crable.
Kind of the same comments. Next time we'll meet, we'll have started. Looking forward to the start of school and seeing kids back on campus, and hopefully looking for another good year. And know that the board's been working hard over the summer. Budgets. I know Dr. Bott's been working hard getting the crew ready to go. So looking forward to it.
Mr. Kelly.
Thank y'all for being here. Hope you had a good summer. See you next month.
Dr. Bott, you have anything you want to?
I do want to echo just that our thoughts and prayers are with the families and I know it'll be a difficult time. We're here for any support we can provide. Just want to thank principals and directors over this summer, especially the folks in this room, most of whom probably didn't get much of a summer, and I know some folks even forewent their vacations just to try to address all the different issues and problems with Beryl. And we did have even weather issues back in June, and so I really just wanted to say thank you, all the directors, especially cabinet. I mean, everybody really just did a great job and trying to help make sure we were communicating with the public and supporting our staff and our students. And so just a big shout out, Chris, Bob, thank you, Alex, thank y'all trying to come up here at odd hours and times. And Lewis and Sheree, everybody was available to try to help do whatever we need to do to help our students and families and even the community. So that's what we're here to do. And I'll give a shout to Rachel to continue to grow our C&I department and making sure that not only that culture is great, but that we're trying to reinforce whatever we can to help our students be successful. So appreciate her, great job. Thank you, Jenny, for just, the 15 conversations we have every day about everything. I couldn't do it without her, but do want to give a quick shout out to new interim technology director, Mr. Krager. Like we tell any other director that comes in here, you have all our support, everything you need. Just don't mess it up. So.
Most people didn't even know Corey had a last name.
Got your back, but sorry, Corey Clay's there, but thank you so much. Appreciate you guys.
All right. It's hard to believe that we're midway through the summer and we're going to have new employees reporting here in a few days and everybody coming back in a week and kids in a little over a week. It's just hard to believe because it seems like we were just handing out diplomas. So, but appreciate all the hard work and all the things going on, and looking forward to a really good school year. Like I think it was Mr. Crable said, our next board meeting will be after school has started, and I hope that it's a meeting where we are talking about all the successes for the first week or two of school. So with that,
Mr. President, make a motion that we adjourn.
okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor, raise your hand. And we are adjourned. Thank you.